if you had two groups of people who were not Jews and Arabs, or not Jews and Muslims, were just, green people and red people, or green people and blue people, or whatever, and one side did what that side did on October 7th, I think that it would be very clear to me what the situation there is and what the response was likely to be, right? This is the point I keep making over and over. I don't even have a dog in the fight particularly. If you stand back and look at what's happening, it's quite clear what's happened there. I watched it with my own eyes. I watched it when on October 8th there were people parading with Palestine flags in the streets of London, right? That is not people who want freedom, that's people who celebrate terrorism. So whatever the backgrounds and the religions behind it is kind of irrelevant. That particular conflict is as simple as that to me, right? There is a side that celebrates terrorism, and it celebrates killing civilians, and it celebrates that, and there's a side that doesn't. Which one of those is right? To me, it's pretty obvious.
It should be a real warning shot that there are a lot of people in our own midst who will make common cause with others who loathe us,
because they love us as well.
Even though instinctively those two groupings don't get on.
Well, no, they do get on because they both loathe us.
Yes, that's the point.
They get on beautifully because the people on the left who've been taught to hate their own society and the terrorists, sympathizers, they all hate the West. And they all hate the values that we have. So why wouldn't they make common cause? It makes perfect sense.
In the short term.
In the short term.
Because many of those people who hate the West that are travelling at the moment would be seen with those terrorists, would be seen by the terrorists as useful idiots.
Oh yeah, but of course. But they never. The useful idiots are called useful idiots because they're idiots.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're idiots and they don't see that or think about it. Because they're more interested in the feelings that they have than the reality that they're dealing with.
See, it's another one of those inversions that you were talking about. That's what it is.
Of course, complete inversion. But it's quite logical, which is why ultimately we have to say what I just said, which is, and what I'm planning to say at ARC. Our civilization is very special. It's very, very good in compared to every other civilization available. We got to be, every human being is, I think, is a kind of, ideally the right balance between pride and shame, right? There's certain things that you have a pride about, and pride is, a sin in Christianity, and for a good reason. But also we're all should be able to be proud of certain things that we've done and feel like, I did that, that was good, yeah. And also there's shame. There's things that I've done and you've done and every human being alive in human history has done that they're ashamed of, right? It's about having the right balance between the two. I don't want our society to be blind to its errors. I don't want what, increasingly is happening in Russia, where you're only allowed one version of history. No, I think our leaders from the past should be capable of being criticized. I do. But that has to be factually based. It has to be based on the reality and the
balanced.
Facts. And balanced. And it's just, what's true for a human being is true for a society. We have to have the right balance. And I think we have to teach our children and remind ourselves that we are right to be proud, pleased with, happy about, have a sense of affinity for the place in which we live and the lineage from which we come, whether that's culturally or genetically or whatever. That's fine. It's good to be to have a sense of confidence. And I remember it's funny that this has to be explained. Like I have lots of friends in Ukraine, for example, who, if you say to them, if you ask them about where they're from, they will tell you the city that they're from, and then they will tell you how proud they are to be from that city. They will say, we have a Philharmonic orchestra there, and we have this beautiful church. They speak about the place in which they live with a sense of pride. Then it's not because they hate everyone else. They just have a passion for the place in which they live, and inculcating that in ourselves and in our children, I think is very important. And in the way that applies to your local town, that should also apply to your country.